St. George's Grange Park Anglican Church in Toronto was previously St. George the Martyr's Church and was founded in 1845. This church sits on land that had been donated by Darcy Bolton Jr., and this location was the southwest corner of their 100 acres of land. His family home is known as the Grange and is now owned by the Art Gallery of Ontario. The Grange was built in 1817, and the Bolton family was part of the Family Compact, which was a clique of Upper Canada's elite, a powerful political and social group. The piece of property was donated in the 1840s for St. George's Church. Henry Bowyer Joseph Lane was the architect, and the builder was John Ritchie. The first service was held in 1845. On top of the church's tower was the spire, and it was 150 feet high. In those days, the ships entering Toronto's harbor used it as a marker while landing at the port. While many churches charged a pew rental fee, a large amount of the 750 seats of St. George's was free. St. George the Martyr Church was the first offshoot of the Church of St. James, which was the only Anglican church in Toronto, which was then called the Town of York. St. George the Martyr Church was well attended, and by 1888, over 400 children attended Sunday school. In 1949, a strong wind damaged the spire and it was removed. On a cold Sunday, February 13th, 1955, there was a fire that destroyed almost the entire church. There were 100 firefighters battling for 6 hours to put out the blaze. The bell tower still stood after the fire. Following the fire, the congregation worshipped in the rectory, then the converted parish hall, and in 1985, it was redesigned as a powerful tool for evangelism. The Grange neighborhood is full of artists. It is next to OCAD, the Ontario College of Art and Design, which is just around the corner from the Art Gallery of Ontario. Park was redeveloped to have a children's playground, water park, and dog park. And in the past 20 years, Toronto has become less and less affordable, and there are people who are forced to sleep in the park. From people in the community, St. George's Church had started to alienate some of the community. A man named Tim was living in the bell tower for 12 years. The church offered to rent him a room about 10 years ago. Since then, George the Martyr Church went bankrupt and listed the property for sale. A management company purchased it about 5 years ago. When they took it over, they found Tim, an elderly man living there, and they assured him that he would be able to continue renting his room. Recently, St. George Grange Park Church has filed an application to evict him. Tim Holman is a 73-year-old man in declining health with very little financial resources, and there really isn't any affordable housing in the city that doesn't have a long wait list. Neighbors have organized to support Tim at the Landlord and Tenant Board. Tim is described by his friends and neighbors as a boon and a blessing to all of us who live nearby. They don't want him to suffer unnecessarily in his declining years. The church is trying to evict Tim, who worked and volunteered his service for the past 35 years. What does Jesus say about homelessness? God expects his people to help those who are homeless. Help them as you would a foreigner and stranger so they can continue to live among you. Those who give to the poor will lack nothing, but those who close their eyes to them receive many curses. Jesus says, "Foxes have holes and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." You are a shelter and strong tower for those who need refuge. Now, what does the Bible say about hypocrisy? The Bible calls it a sin. St. George's Church is now under the administration of St. Paul's Bloor Street. Could the church not allow Tim to remain renting his room in his senior years? When you see people on the streets, do we not ask, how did they get here? What is their story? Imagine it's a church evicting a 73-year-old man